This is Rounding Third, Boston podcast. Harrison Smith and Nick Arno are breaking down every pitch, every game, and every series. Live every week. This is your home for all things Red Sox. Let's talk Sox.
Welcome back into Rounding Third Boston, episode 12. Stealing is a bad thing, unless you're Jarren Duran. I'm Nick, and we have Harrison tonight. How are we doing, Harrison?
Fantastic, Nick. How we doing?
Doing pretty well. Sox had an all right week. We'll get into it, and we'll kind of break it down a little bit. But first, make sure you follow and like us on Facebook. You can subscribe on YouTube. You can also follow on Instagram, Rumble, and TikTok. You can also listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. All right. We have our affiliate programs, Dick's Sporting Goods, MLB Shop, and Lids. You can find these links on the tops of all of our socials. If you do any shopping with these companies, please do them through our link. We get a nice little kickback with no additional cost to you, and it's a great way to support what we are doing to bring you the content that you all hopefully love. We also have our merch on Rounding Third Baseball on Etsy. You can find sweatshirts, t-shirts, mugs, anything that you want to wear, gets our name out there, and another way to support us. So please check that out. And enjoy. If you don't see anything on there you like and you'd like something, let us know. We can put it on the store for you. All right. Here we go. We'll dive right in. Jarren Duran, straight steal of home last night. It came exactly 16 years to the day that Jacoby Ellsbury stole home against the Yankees in 2009. It still amazes me to this day how stuff in baseball like this happens, like often. like it's weird, it's fluky. There's so many different outcomes that can happen in a baseball game, but yet like the same exact date, it's weird.
It is the weirdest thing. It'll be the same date. It'll be in the same situation, the same. There's all these crazy common threads, and I do think part of that is it's also the kind of the flukiness of baseball, therefore makes it likely weird stuff like this could happen. But it's also just the amount of history in baseball. You're just bound to find these weird chances where things can overlap. But that was an eerie one, the exact day. Because I remember that Jacoby Ellsbury steal like it was yesterday.
Yes.
And how crazy and exciting that was. And then when Duran slid in, I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I've seen this again. I didn't think I would.
And he had that stolen easily. I mean, like he was in there by a mile. I mean, it wasn't even close, really.
I mean, yeah, he was already, his whole hand was already across the plate before there's any tag placed on him. And he was clearly not debatably safe.
He was 30 feet down the line. The pitcher didn't even look in his direction once.
No, and you could see Duran, leading up to that was kind of hopping around trying to see what he would get for attention and what he could get for timing. And I think once he had it, he just went.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. A lot of times your steals of home are really close. I mean, he was a full arm in there before the tag was made, and that's what's more amazing about that is that there's no throw the catcher has to make. He just has to catch it and put a tag down.
Yeah.
And he still beat him. Like that's just how good a jump he's got.
Yep. You could see Devers like panic too. He was like in and out of the box like a couple times. He's like, "What do I do? What do I do?"
That's got to be such a weird feeling. Like you see this guy running at you, but you can't bail. Like, you can't just like jump out of the box.
Yeah.
But you don't want to like stand there and get in his way. So it's the whole I don't know what to do.
Yeah, it was so funny. But
and not only that, but that must be nerve-wracking for hitter, but also be a little frustrating because like now you've taken the bat out of my hands. If this dude pipes a fastball, I can't swing. I got to get out of there.
Yeah, right.
Or I'll kill you.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, and Duran's been electric. I mean, he hasn't hit like he did last year. I mean, he has games like he was 3 for 5. I think yesterday, a big part of that win yesterday. And then the steal of home. He has games, brilliance, but it's just not quite as consistent early on as he was last year. And again, the season's still early. But he's a huge spark plug on that team for sure.
Yeah, I think the problem for Duran early on's been strikeouts. He's not a big strikeout guy. He has been this year. His average is up to 276. He's got 9 steals, 9 walks, but 28 Ks.
Yeah.
He's in the top 5 in Ks for the Red Sox. And again, 28 Ks in the first month of the season is not like a lot, like an alarming amount, but it's more than he usually has. and only one home run. There really hasn't been much power from Jarren, which we saw that he has. And I do believe as the weather gets warmer, there are certain guys that just play better. He's probably one of them, but he's definitely turning the corner and coming around, but it has been a bit of a slow start for him.
Yeah. Well, while we're on the Jarren Duran wagon here, there was an incident in Cleveland today. Duran flew out to left. He was heading back to the dugout, and a fan yelled that he should have followed through on his suicide attempt when he had the chance. Duran heard that, comes out of the dugout and starts barking. I mean, rightfully so, right back at the fan. I mean, it's public now, right? The special was out on Netflix. He was open talking about his mental health. People know about it. And kudos for Jarren Duran to be able to talk about it and to put that awareness out there, because there are a lot of people in this country, unfortunately, that do struggle with mental health. And I think it's huge to have somebody of his stature talking about it and the importance of mental health and seeking help. But as us fans that love this game, I hate that this is what players are going to expect from us. Like, one person can ruin it for everybody, right? You have that group of friends where everybody's, normal, having a good time, but you have that one friend that's a jerk and your whole group gets labeled. Right? That's just what happens. And now players are on edge, right? You don't know what fans are going to say or what they're going to do. And there's just no excuses for this radically disgusting behavior. Really, there's nothing. I don't care if you hate the Red Sox. Like, there's no excuse for this. Cheer for your team. Heck, you can even laugh when the other team drops a fly ball, but when you personally attack somebody, that's an issue. That goes beyond the free speech mold. No, that's hate speech when you're telling somebody that they, should have carried through on something like that. Absolutely insane.
Well, and what does that say about you as a person when you think it's okay? First of all, real tough guy yelling something to a baseball player from behind a net, knowing full well he A, can't get to you, and B, can't touch you. So real tough guy to scream that out. Like, I hope you're really proud of how strong and tough a guy you appeared to be behind that net barking at a player. But what kind of person are you to find comfort or to feel okay with making that comment? It is, and great point by Michael. Like, it's one thing you want to boo at a guy, you want to tell him he sucks. I don't care. You want to swear at him, fine. Like, even that would be better than this. But to make a comment like that to a ball player, I mean, we used to hear the rumblings that there were all kinds of racist taunts coming from the bleachers at Fenway, and nobody could ever prove it, but it was believed it was happening, and like that was horrifying. As a Red Sox didn't think that was happening. This is on that same level. Like, this is the kind of stuff that fans just don't need to say. There's no reason for it. And if you come to a ball game looking to try to tear somebody down like that, then you shouldn't be there. And yes, he should be banned for life. He should not be welcome in any major league stadium, minor league stadium, college stadium, any ballpark ever again, period, end of story. And that person, I hope, goes home and does a little soul searching to realize that that's a pretty low moment and you can come back from that, but there's no room in baseball for that. And I hope that this is an isolated incident. But at the same time, I think Jarren Duran realizes with eyes wide open, I put it out there and it could come back.
Yeah, I don't think he's numb to that fact at all, but it's still not acceptable. And, the game was held up for a second. The umpires handled it perfectly. They, Campbell pushed Duran away. The umpires kind of separated him a little bit, and then the umpires got security, got that guy out of there. I think it's absolutely insane. And it was handled perfectly. There's just no room for it. And listen, there's a difference between, I'm talking about Carter here. There's a difference between being emotionally soft and telling somebody that they should have carried through on a suicide attempt. Like, that's crossing a line. If I go and say that to my boss tomorrow morning, I don't have a job. And then when I go to try to find another job, am I going to have one? No. Like, there's just no way. It's inexcusable, no excuse for it at this point. And it needs to stop.
Yeah, it's again. I think that people don't go to a game expecting to hear that. And also, like, if I'm a Cleveland fan in that section where I heard this guy say it, like, I don't want you to represent me as a fan.
No.
I don't want that kind of trash take in our ballpark. And it's not about being soft. It's not about being emotional. It's the fact is, you want to tell a guy he sucks. You want to boo him. You want to tell him his mother wears army boots. I don't care what you want to scream. But when you get into telling somebody they shouldn't be alive, like, that's a problem. Like, that's you need to check yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have any problem with the guy that yelled, "Hey, you should probably have a tennis racket up there." Like, I mean, like,
well, Jarren did, but
right. But at that point, yes, he was soft. He shouldn't have let that bother him, right?
Yep.
That aside. But that's a heckle, and that's fine.
Totally fine.
This is not a heckle. This is hate speech. This is a personal attack.
Yeah, I mean, the batteries being thrown at you is a different kind of low. But again, I mean, that's Philadelphia. They throw snowballs at Santa and batteries at players. It is what it is.
Yeah. So, all right. Alex Cora reaches the 1,000 game milestone with the Game 1 doubleheader loss against the Guardians this weekend. Where does Cora stand amongst Red Sox managers of all time?
I mean, other than 2018, can we point to anything they've done? I mean, I feel bad for Alex Cora, but he's been the manager for a bunch of 500 seasons. I don't know what his career managerial record is. It's probably not great.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think, and again, I'm not a huge Alex Cora fan. I think he's a good manager. I think if he's in Boston for a few more years and they're up on the way up and they're good, I think he'll end up being in that kind of top handful of managers in Red Sox history. But as it stands right now, he's been the manager for one of the more disappointing stretches we've seen as Red Sox fans in the last probably 30 years.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, I agree with you, Welch. I think middle of the pack. That's where I am with Cora right now. All the baggage that kind of came with him with the Astros fallout. But man, I don't know. He's definitely middle of the pack for me. But management and upper management hasn't really given him much to work with the past few years either. Now that these kids are coming up and you've got Bregman, you made the deal for Crochet, you actually have some talent. We're going to see what he can do with that talent over the next few years here. So,
yeah. And I think you've got, I was going to make the same point. I think Cora's not been given a lot. 2018 was a great season. He was handed a great roster. He did what he was supposed to do with it. 2019, obviously he missed because he was suspended. And then it's been a bunch of 500 after that. Not entirely his fault. However, we have had incidents with Cora with, having issues with players. Like, Verdugo jumps right to mind. He had an issue back in 21 with, I can't remember who it was, the infielder. He chased Heim Bloom out of town. I mean, I think that when you look at Cora's stretch of time with the Red Sox, performance-wise has been up or down, and I think in many cases he's been a bit of a headache to the front office. But they love him, so it's working. But as a fan, like, I don't look at Alex Cora's tenure and go, "This has been great." I go, "Meh, it's been all right." And he's been kind of a pain.
Yeah. We are taking questions. We're trying to stay a little bit on track here, but we will do this. We are going to get to Casas in a little bit, but I don't know. Casas has had an up and down season here. The last week, he actually had a decent week this week. I know they saw a lot of lefties the last couple of days, so maybe that's why Casas kind of sat the bench, give him a breather, get Romy Gonzalez in there. So I think I don't think it's necessarily they're done with Casas unless there's something in the works. We've said that there's possibly a trade deal coming. If Massa's ready and Casas going, we're thinking he could be a trade chip. But I think mostly it's because they saw a lot of lefties in this Guardian series that we haven't seen Casas.
Yeah, I mean,
that would be my guess.
Casas is hitting $172. He's not striking out a lot. Like his strikeout numbers are not way up. He's making a lot of contact, just weak contact. So I just think he's had a tough time getting things going. And I think that with the lefties, to Nick's point, with him struggling and lefties coming up, it was probably a good day to give him probably a good couple of days to take off, to let him just take a breather and think about it.
And that Guardians bullpen's no joke. So, I mean, it's just, yeah.
Yeah, this is a great point, Welch. We talked about this, I think, last week, where Alex Cora, I look at Alex Cora and Aaron Boone kind of the same way. Those guys, their players love them generally. They're great relationship builders. They're very good communicators. They will absolutely go to the mat for their guys to defend them, but they have not gotten great results. And I think part of that is they've been in transition periods with their team, and part of that is I don't think they always make great decisions. I think Cora, more so than Boone, makes better decisions, but there are many times that I look at what he does, and we've talked about on the show, where it's like that move doesn't make sense to me and didn't work out. But again, they're looking at different things than we are, and that's also why he's on the bench and we're not.
Right. Yeah, I hope Liam Hendricks comes back and is completely dominant. He was filthy, and we need him to keep performing in the bullpen for sure. I'm with you there, Uncle Ted.
Totally agree.
All right, Lucas Giolito, his last rehab start was Friday. Looks like he's going to join the team in Toronto for Game 2 of that series. Does this bolster the Sox staff at all, or is it too early to know his impact? I know we just got Bayo back. He looks pretty good in his first 2 outings, considering his layoff. And then you just add Giolito to this mix. So how are we feeling about the Red Sox rotation going forward?
I don't know. I mean, we haven't seen him in a year and a half now. And last time we saw him, 22 and 23 were pretty mediocre years. After that, he had a 3-year stretch before that where he was really, really good. So 22 and 23, not great. He's been out since the end of 23. I don't know. I think if you get more vintage Giolito, I think you're going to be happy with it. If you get Giolito from 21 and 22 or 22 and 23, I think you're disappointed. In which case, you may need a guy like Richard Fitz to come back up. Because I don't know. I mean, I feel like Giolito would be an improvement over Fitz. Not that Fitz has necessarily done anything to make us not like him. Just young and inexperienced.
But do you think they keep Richard Fitz maybe for a long relief guy, or they just kind of shuffle him to the bullpen so he's there to maybe, be a 6th starter if they need to?
I think it depends on what their long-term intentions are with Fitz. If they see Fitz as a potential member of this bullpen in the next year, or potential member of this rotation the next year or two, putting him in the bullpen does nothing to advance his career. He's better off to go to AAA and just stay in a rotation, get innings, continue to throw pitches and work through situations. If they're not sure what a future is, throw him in the bullpen. He could be a long guy. He could be a guy in the middle. He could come out and make a spot start. I think you could do a lot of things with him. I just think it depends on what you really intend to do with him down the road. Yeah.
Dobbins looks great early for sure. I think that's promising. He is a beast. He's got some nasty stuff. This question about Fulmer, though, I don't know. I mean, we have a lot of those what if guys kind of in our bullpen right now. Can Whitlock stay healthy? Hopefully. Like Fulmer, what is he going to give us coming back? I'm not sure. It's a great question.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what to expect. I mean, and I don't know what to expect after or actually with the guys that you have in there now. I mean, night to night, this can be a Jekyll and Hyde bullpen.
Yeah, agree.
I mean, at this point, any arms are good, just so you can begin to find the right pieces.
Yeah, I think Giolito has a lot to prove, and I think he knows that, right? I mean, he came off the arm, immediately got hurt with a hamstring. Like, he's ready to go. And every interview I've seen, he's like, yeah, I can't wait to get out there and show that I still have it. I'm looking forward to it. I hope he can eat some innings for us. But yeah, I'm with you. I don't know. We'll see. But all right, let's kind of get into the series here. Red Sox dropped 2 out of 3 to the Mariners. The Mariners figured out how to hit against the Red Sox, so that kind of goes what we were just saying with the pitching staff.
The Mariners have been really good at the plate lately, which feels strange to say.
Yeah. Bayo made his return, looked good in the 8-3 win Tuesday night. Casas had some big hits for the Red Sox finally this week. And what are your key takeaways?
I had said that going into that series. I thought this was a series they really needed to take 2 out of 3. It was a chance for them to face a lineup they should get out. A lineup that's been good, but they're not an elite level offense. And it's also a chance for them to see how they hit against elite pitching. What we learned is the Red Sox can hit. The pitching just wasn't there. And that, I think, has continued to be the Red Sox this year. The pitching is inconsistent. The lineup is still good. I just don't. My confidence in them winning the AL East is fading because they just can't seem to put together a good week. And this week was okay. They played 7 games. They were 4-3 this week. But if you want to win the AL East, 4-3 against the Mariners, 1 game against the White Sox, 3 against the Mariners, 3 against the Guardians, and you go 4-3 in that stretch, will not win you the AL East.
Yeah. Yeah, and Mariners stay hot. I mean, that's the thing is the Red Sox can't get all these hot teams rolling into Fenway and not win games. They got to have to stop that hot streak that team's on. And there's just some seasons where that's the hand that's dealt to you. It just seems like everybody that's rolling into Fenway is hot, or into your team stadium, whatever. But yeah, I'm with you. It's you gotta figure out a way to get people out. The lineup's gonna hit. That hasn't been the problem the last few years. The last few years is we can't prevent runs.
Yep.
We got to turn that table somehow.
Yeah, and there's got to be something better than this, because it is. We are continuing to just toil. Here the Red Sox 16-14. They're a +9 run differential. They've scored 148. They've given up 139 runs. That is 3rd in the American League. They've given up more runs than the Angels, more than the Rangers, they've given up more runs than the White Sox. I mean, that's where this team is.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we need Devers to Devers for sure. 1,000%. And it looks like
we need Garrett Cole to come back so Devers can Dever.
Right. I mean, he went deep again today. Devers looks like he's back, and it looks like he's found his groove in the DH role. So I'm not worried about Devers at all. Roman Anthony's foot looks like it's not as serious as they thought. It was just kind of a scare. It was just a little sore. So I haven't heard anything other than that. But that's good news on Red Sox front.
Yeah, that would be. You need that kid to continue to progress. You cannot have him go down with injury, especially something like a foot.
Yeah,
that'd be frustrating.
And I agree with this point. Bayo's the key to this season, and I think Brian Bayo knows that. If you got a chance to watch the clubhouse, like, he's a very competitive guy within himself on the field. Like, it's impressive, and you want a guy with that edge, right? That goes out and like wants to be at the top of his game every time. And I think he's got the stuff. He really does. I think he's just got to hone in on it and get the job done, which the first 2 starts look promising. So hopefully he is.
He's got that competitive edge like you see from the elite winners like Brady and Michael Jordan, who would try to win at everything and would bet on everything and they just had to try to find a way to beat you. He is super competitive, which I think is a great trait to have. And if you have to have that ability to keep coming back to be successful at this level.
Yep. Yeah, we talked about Roman Anthony's barrel rate last week, and it's insane. I mean, in the majors, I know it's different because it's the majors versus AAA, but it was Judge and Ohtani had the top barrel rates, and it was barely over 20. I think it was like 21%, like Kurtz. Yep. There's just a block for Anthony right now, which stinks, because I do want to see him up at the major league level to see what he can do. But again, the offense really isn't the issue at this point. We just need more pitching, or better pitching, I should say. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, I mean, the Red Sox have scored the 2nd most runs in the American League behind only the Yankees. This is not an offensive problem. They are still giving up. So here's an example. They've scored 7 fewer runs than the Yankees. They've given up 26 more runs than the Yankees. So that's another run per game. That makes a lot of difference when you're trying to win close games.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we'll move to Red Sox at Progressive Field here against the Guardians. Game 1 was postponed, so made into a day-night doubleheader yesterday. they dropped game one, leaving the tie and go ahead runs on base. Devers got out, I believe, to end the game there with runners on second and third. Kind of tough one to swallow.
Yep.
But game two, they won 7-3 on the backs of Jarren Duran and Rafael Devers. They had monster games.
They did. They were all the offense.
Yeah. And then today they beat them 13-3. So another great outing from Bayo. Offense went off. Ref Snyder hit a ball out to left. That was an absolute rocket. That thing was like 113 miles an hour off the bat and maybe 12 feet off the ground the entire way. Like it was just a frozen rope.
And a guy who gets very little attention and not a lot of playing time. And when he does, he performs. It's impressive because you've not seen him very much, but yet when he comes out there, he performs.
Yes, absolutely. All right. First month takeaway here. Early thoughts or concerns about the team after the first month. And I said, with Giolito and Bayo back and coming back, and Buehler seeming to be settling in,
yep.
How do we feel about the staff going forward and the team as a whole?
So I mean, if I look solely at where they are versus last year, this feels like exactly the same team as last year. Score a bunch of runs, give up too many, and battle to stay around 500. That's how this feels early on. Now, I do think that Giolito coming back, now the Bayo's back, Buehler settling in. I feel like that bullpen at some point is going to stabilize. I feel like the Red Sox also have the ammunition to go make a trade. I do still think this team is a playoff team. Do I think they're an AL East winner anymore? I don't. I don't know that they've got the juice to take the AL East. But I do think they've got a shot to win a wild card. And I think that's where I see this team now. You know, barring any major setbacks, I think this is a wild card team.
Yep, I'm with you 100%. Like, if we could somehow find a way to prevent runs, like the first half of last season. I mean, our pitching staff at the beginning of last year was lights out, all of them, 1 through 5. Their pitching approach to the hitters was incredible. Like, Andrew Bailey had a great game plan every night. And then it kind of caught up with him at the back half of the year. Now we got to somehow find that groove again to prevent the runs. But I'm with you. I think at this point, you know, I had them picking the AL, winning the AL East because I thought they did enough in the offseason to get there. But I think realistically, we're battling for a wild card spot for sure.
Yeah, I don't think this team is as far ahead as I hoped they would be. And honestly, they just need a good 2 or 3 week stretch to kind of put all those thoughts behind us.
Yes.
But it's 1 step forward, 1 step back, 1 step forward, 1 step back. Like they can't get out of this neutral gear they're stuck in where it's a win and a loss, win and a loss, win and a loss.
Yeah.
And you know, guys like, yeah, and I agree with you 100%, Uncle Ted. Like Houck carried this team for the whole first half of last year. Went to the All-Star game, did not have a good second half. I think reality caught up and he kind of finished where he normally is, but Houck's been a mess.
Yes,
Crochet's been Crochet. Buehler's been a little uneven. Bayo coming back, he's looked very good. You know, Fitz has looked good for moments. Houck has been a mess. I do think this team will be better coming out of, you know, when they get some steam underneath them in May.
Yeah.
But this feels really eerily like last year so far right now.
Yeah, I think, you know, baseball's contagious, right? You get Crochet goes out there and deals. You get Buehler that backs him up and goes out and has a game that deals. And then Bayo goes out and deals. And it's like, okay, now we're on one, fellas. Let's go. Like, pitching can be contagious just like hitting can be. So we'll see. And yeah, John, I agree with this point. Like, we're going to have to wait on a Castillo trade or anything like that with Gilbert going on the IL. That's, you know, and all the rumors seem to be like the Mariners are looking to possibly deal one of those guys. And I mean, it's one of the best staffs in baseball, but with Gilbert going down, I don't see them dealing any of those guys at all. But
yeah. And I think that if they keep hitting, the need to trade one of those guys begins to fade a little bit. Because even if this offense is just 10% better than last year, that's a playoff team. Just 5 or 10% better, it's a playoff team. They weren't so far removed from the playoffs last year. That pitching carried them as far as it could, but you can't you put negative runs on the board against the team. The team's got to go score something for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Yeah. Cutter Crawford's a baller too. Yeah. I mean, we loved him last year for sure.
He is. I mean, he outperformed for a big chunk of last year and kind of finished off about normal for him. He's a 500 guy. But he could be better than that. His stuff is better than that. He just has to catch some breaks. And he's still
you need that guy that eats a lot of innings, and Cutter Crawford ate a ton of them last year for us. So
I think the wild card for the Red Sox is fair. The Tigers are making a serious case for the Central, and that's the Guardians and Royals are still trying to find their stride.
Yep, agree.
Yeah, and Uncle Ted, I'm a firm believer. You just have to get in the playoffs. After that, it's a crapshoot. Just get on the dance floor, and anything can happen.
Yeah.
Hang on before we move on, Nick.
Yeah, I just saw that one.
Yeah. So let me go first. I'll set the stage for you.
All right.
So we went over this all off season, and we actually thought the Red Sox should have traded Cassis in the off season to a team like the Mariners because they could have held them hostage for an arm. Maybe go get Ric Flair's favorite pitcher there, Brian Wu. We thought he was an off season trade. We now think that he's probably an in-season trade, but he's going to be packaged with somebody like maybe a Rafaela to try to get a bigger package. But we've been on the train of it feels like he's becoming kind of the odd man out, and not just not position wise, but it just the fit. It doesn't feel like a great fit anymore.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think there's no space for Masahiro Tanaka. My goodness, Masataka Yoshida. And you have Cassis.
I've done it before.
Yeah, I mean, and Cassis. I think you package those two, and unfortunately, as much as I do love Rafaela and his positional flexibility, I think he has to go in that deal too. For a top arm. I mean, Hunter Brown would be ridiculous, but again, I don't know if the Astros would part with him with the way he's dealing right now.
The Astros would want Roman Anthony back for him. There's no way you get that deal done. Hunter Brown might be the most valuable player in all of baseball right now because he's young, cheap, and fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, he's had a rocky start to his career too, but he looks like he's settling in really well right now.
So good.
But I mean, there are arms out the head. Sandy Alcantara. I'm sure the Marlins are listening. I mean, his name's been floated around a ton.
Yeah, and he's struggled a little bit lately too. It's bad timing for him not to be pitching well.
Yeah, well, maybe not for him, but for the Marlins, yes.
Yeah, sorry for the Marlins' return.
Yeah, but it would still be an upgrade in the rotation from what we have. I mean, if he has a legit team to back him up, I'm not saying the Marlins aren't legit because they're fun to watch, but they're young, they're inexperienced. Like he's gonna lose some tough games. Like he lost one last week, I think 2-1. That's tough. Your team can't get your runs, and the Red Sox can get your runs. Like we're gonna trade you to a contender. So Alcantara is not off the board. There are arms out there to be traded.
Yes.
But we'll just see. I mean, if you're sending those three guys, though, you want a pitcher that has some control. You don't want a rental for those three guys.
No, if you're going after a Mariners pitcher, you really would you'd prefer to get Castillo, who's got 3 years left on that contract, so he's going to be around a little while, or one of the younger guys like a Wu, who's under team control for a little bit longer.
Yeah, Mayer and Dobbin. I think Mayer's untouchable, to be completely honest. I mean, with Trevor Story's injury history, I think the Red Sox want to keep Mayer or Meyer. I say it both ways. I don't know.
I do too.
They want to keep him there. It would have to be somebody huge for them to let go of Marcelo. So,
well, I think the Astros are a bad trade partner because they don't need a first baseman. They got Christian Walker.
Right. Pablo Lopez all day. Twins are a dumpster fire. With you on both accounts there. Pablo Lopez would be a great one. Yep, absolutely. I would possibly think about Marcelo in that deal. I mean, it would be a fourth number 1, number 2 starter.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. I'm only saying this because of the amount of control Brown has left, and he has flashes of brilliance. I don't know. It's a tough one. I just don't know what the Astros would want. And like you said, with Christian Walker there, first base is kind of blocked up. It'd have to be the right trade partner for the receiving team to get Cassis and Yoshida.
Yeah.
And Rafaela, for that matter, if
It's
he's
gotta
the
be
one
a-
in the deal.
It's got to be a big return, and maybe in that case, Rafael doesn't go. But if you're going to bring Roman Anthony up, you got to move an outfielder out.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, the trade.
Yeah. So, all right, Harrison. I got a few. Who is that guy for you?
So the turntables have turned, huh?
Yes. And this is all Red Sox edition. So here we go. First one. Who is this Red Sox player? Played from 1984 to 1996 for the Mariners, Red Sox, Brewers, and Rangers. Started opening day as a catcher for the Red Sox in 94 before being dealt to Milwaukee. He wore number 23 when he was in Boston. Harrison, who is that guy?
Oh, geez. At first, I thought this was going to be like a Bill Hasselman or something, but that is not Bill Hasselman. So if I go back into the early 90s, I'm trying to think, you had the years of Pena, you had the years of Hasselman was there for quite a while. You had a revolving door of catchers there in the mid 90s, though. Geez, John.
Oh,
Wow, John.
Dave
That
Valley.
was fast.
Correct, sir. Nice job. 658 career hits, 237 batting average, 77 homers, 350 RBIs, 5 career steals. You're welcome. And
Nice.
a 10 WAR. Nice job,
Wow,
John.
good pull, because that was not a name I was going to get.
Yes.
I thought it was Bill Hasselman at first, and then when it wasn't, I'm like, oh crap, I got nothing.
That last picture, he totally looks like a catching John Rocker.
Oh my goodness, yes, he does.
Yeah,
Oh, he's on the Mariners broadcast now. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. But I mean, look at this. It looks like John Rocker catching. Like, no joke. Crazy.
It totally does.
All right, Dave Valley. All right, next one. Who is this Red Sox player? Played from 1994 to 2004 for the Mariners, Red Sox, Cardinals, Rockies, Mets, Yankees, Braves, Padres, and Reds. Outfielder that batted left and threw right-handed. Wore number 56 for the Sox when he played there from 96 to 98. Harrison, who is that guy?
I totally know who this guy is. Should I give Chad a second, or should I just take it?
Just take it.
All right. This is Darren Bragg. I remember Darren Bragg very well.
It is Darren Bragg. Good. 627 hits, 255 batting average, 46 dingers, 260 RBIs, 56 stolen bases, so a little bit of upgrade from Dave Valley there, and a 9 WAR.
Yeah, so, one of those little kind of spark plug outfielders the Red Sox had through that whole stretch.
Yep, absolutely. All right, I think you'll get this next guy, but here we go. Who is this Red Sox player? Played from 1995 to 2009 for the Brewers, Astros, Padres, Red Sox, Astros, and Dodgers. Started second base on opening day for the Sox in the 2006 season. 2-time All-Star, 1-time Silver Slugger. Wore number 3 for the Red Sox. Who is that guy?
Oh, I was thinking for sure it was going to be Mike Lansing. Then the years and the number are wrong. It's another L though. Not Lemke, not oh my goodness, it's another L. And it's either a Mike or it's Mark Loretta.
Mark Loretta, yes, good.
Nice I just had to work through it.
Yep. 1,713 career hits, 295 batting average, 76 homers, 629 RBIs. Ooh, excuse me. 629 RBIs, 47 stolen bases, a 19.4 WAR. So nice little career out of Mark Loretta there.
Yeah, he was a good little player, and for the Red Sox, he had some good seasons in Boston.
Yeah,
and there were stretches where he was, he carried that team at times, and he had so many big hits. He had so many late game doubles, and just awesome.
Yeah. All right, I got 2 more for you. Here's the next one. Who is this Red Sox player? Played in 2003 and then 2005 to 2015 for the Tigers, Dodgers, Reds, Marlins, Giants, Red Sox, Diamondbacks, and Athletics. Started left field opening day for the Red Sox in 2012. Wore number 7 in Boston. 2010 World Series with the Giants and won NLCS MVP that year. Harrison, Who is that guy?
Oh, this is oh, I'm not gonna get his name, but I know exactly who it is. It was not who I thought it was at first. I was going down the road of like a Cliff Floyd, but I'm like, that's the years don't work out. That's I remember with the Giants. Cody Ross.
It is exactly Cody Ross. Nice job. 904 hits, 262 average, 132 homers, 508 RBIs, 33 stolen bases, 13 and a half career WAR. So nice job with that one.
Yeah, I remember him more with the Giants, but yep.
All right. Last one I got for you. This one's a cool one. I love this one because I remember this guy, but we'll see if you do. Who is this Red Sox player? Played from 1990 to 2001 for the White Sox, Marlins, Angels, Blue Jays, and ended his career in Boston. Started at shortstop on opening day for the Sox in 2001 because of Nomar's split tendon injury that ultimately plagued Nomar for the rest of his career. He wore number 15 with the Red Sox. Who is that guy?
Oh man. Oh, I remember him with the Blue Jays, and the name is the struggle. It's I almost said Dawback. I'm like, it's something like that, but it's not. It's not Dawback. Oh man,
I remember him mostly with the White Sox because I watched a ton of White Sox growing
got
up.
it. Yeah, I remember him with the Blue Jays, but I cannot think of his name. It's Greg or Craig. I'll get the last name. Give me a second. Oh man, I remember him too. He filled in pretty well for Nomar. It's Graybeck. Is it Craig Graybeck?
Yes, Craig Graybeck. Nice. I couldn't.
Garbeck.
He was on the Red Sox for such little time that I couldn't find a Red Sox baseball card. So
yeah, he was not there long.
518 hits, 261 batting average, 19 homers, crushed it, 187 RBIs, 4 stolen bases, 10.2 career WAR. Talk about a guy that's probably there just for defense, right? 19 career homers and 4 stolen bases. That's it.
Yeah, the Red Sox brought him in to be a utility infielder. He was just going to float around, play late game, be a late game defensive sub, and then give guys a break. And then when Nomar had the tendon issue, it's like, well, you're the only guy who's played shortstop regularly, so here you go, bud.
Yep. So, yes. There we go. That was our Red Sox.
Wild.
Who was that guy? Nice job with those. A couple of them I thought I was gonna stick you on, but you got them.
Well,
nice.
You got me on Dave Valley until John bailed me out.
Yeah,
didn't have that one.
Started off that way too, so you're probably like, "Oh God, man."
Yeah, when I saw that one pop up, I'm like, "Oh, this is gonna be a long one." But I mean, a couple of those, I definitely knew a couple of those were a bit of a struggle. But those are being on the other side. Those are fun.
Yeah,
rack your brain at who that person really is.
Because you look at the face and you're like, man, oh man, like I know that guy, and the name is just not coming to me. But yeah, that's great. All right. Anything else before we head off and get ready for the big show?
On the news front for the Red Sox, it's been really quite quiet. I know we mentioned Giolito is going to make his start.
Yeah.
I would say the one thing I would mention is that the Red Sox still are looking a little shaky defensively. We didn't get into that before, but there's still definitely some defensive issues. I'm hoping for a better couple of weeks here where they can start to clean things up and make up some ground. Thankfully, they are still very much right at they're only 2 games behind the Yankees, and the Yankees have been good, but it's starting to catch up to them. So I think there's hope, but they got some work to do.
I agree fully. I heard Cora talking about it today a little bit. He was like, we've had the chances defensively. Like our pitchers are doing what they're supposed to do. They're getting the ball put in play to our defenders. We're just not making plays right now. Nope. And he's like, a lot of these guys, Bregman and some others have not played April baseball in New England ever.
That's true.
So it's a little bit of an adjustment. He's like, I'm not making excuses for these guys because they're professionals and they should make the play. He's like, but as it warms up and it gets into the baseball season, he's like, I expect that to improve, which I do too. I mean, it really, hopefully not get any worse. But the Red Sox lead the league in chances. So like their pitchers are getting the ball put in play. The Red Sox just need to make the plays, and they just
That's it.
haven't consistently. So
That's all it comes down to. Got to make the plays, and they're in a much different position.
absolutely. All right. Thanks to everybody in the chat for following along our Red Sox show. We will be. Do we change the hats for the regular show, boys? Yeah, usually I do. Sometimes I keep it on. Sometimes I change it. I'll
Depends on
change
how
it
I'm
if you're
feeling.
coming back, John. So, but yeah, thanks for everybody in the chat again participating. We do this show for your interaction, so we really appreciate it. We will be back on in a few minutes. We'll have Baseball History Dork on at 9. We're running a segment on the history of baseball bats, so be sure to check that out, and then we'll be on right after. It's pretty cool. So we will see you guys in a few minutes. And before you go, just make sure you follow and like Rounding Third Boston on Facebook. You can also follow on Instagram, Rumble, TikTok, all of them. And you can listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. And we will be back on to talk some more Sox next Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.